successful when they come to the board.
And in that regard, Mr. Farrell, we have our website going online next week, and we do plan on doing mailings to abutters as we go through the process.
Fantastic.
So I think that we will try to be as informative to not only the abutters but to the community as well.
Thank you.
Can we have a link from our website to your website? So
We'll work that out, but we're ready to. It's ready to go online as we speak. So then we'll work that out with the staff and whoever else, because we'll have to have multiple links to multiple things, because I know that there's already links to a number of websites already that are going on in the community right now, and we'd like all of them to link together. So, so if somebody goes to one website, they can jump to the other website and see and ask and pick up the information so that they're getting it real time and that they're getting it verbatim. You don't want rumors out there.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah,
right.
my pleasure.
What's that, Chris?
Final comment. If you can fix the traffic pattern in and out of the market basket, I'm hats off to you.
Yeah, let me do the board for you, honest. No, I see you there anyway. Rick?
I'm all set.
Not anything else?
I'm all set.
Anna?
Nothing right now.
Okay, I'm all set. Mary?
I know you did take many email and addresses during the design charrette, so my expectation is that you'll utilize those?
Yes, absolutely.
Let people know?
Yes.
Even as a first blast, and then just to say, do you want us to get back in touch with you?
We
Let us
logged
know.
every one of them.
Good. And the other thing that I want to say is I know what you were trying to let us know about when you were saying that the master plan's going to look like this. The site plan may be slightly different, but it still has all those components. I just want, us to make sure that the audience realizes that the components are going to stay the same. They just may not be in the same place.
Same configuration.
Correct.
Right. But you're not going to suggest that we have, or you're not going to, in the master plan, say that we're going to have a hotel and then come in with a strip joint. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a different.
Is that an allowed use?
Not in that area.
Your hopes up, John?
I was just curious. I mean,
SOBs are not permitted in the PUD. They use some acronyms.
the levity's great, though.
The way, Mary, if I may, the way it's currently worded, you could have something designated an office that became retail or residential.
Right.
But within those shaded areas, you couldn't put a hotel from W21 onto W26, for example. Not allowed. And the way it's also worded presently in the written document, I said that only office or hotel could go from the east side of 93 to the west side of 93. Now, something else may come up as in the course of our discussions with staff. One of the issues is the hospital. If that became an early phase proposal, it's going to be more of a traffic problem than if it's a later phase proposal. So we may need to have a separate little discussion about that at some point. Mm-hmm. And I will certainly be talking about it more with staff.
And do you have hotels talking to you? Do you have a hospital talking to you at this point?
We've been talking to hospitals. We've had some. There's been a lot of indecision in the hospital industry because of, particularly teaching hospitals, because they don't know where they're going to be at, and they need to sort that out because of the healthcare issues that are currently facing them. It's not a matter of funding; it's a matter of where they're going to be out and their long-term sustainability. Critical care. There's 33 million people going to come onto critical care, and there haven't been an equal number of doctors per capita increase in the country. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to handle it, and a lot of larger institutions are trying to figure out how they're going to handle that issue up front right now. So that's where we're at with that. Hotels, we've been bombarded. So.
Do you have an expectation that you're going to start with the original structure that's there and work out?
Actually, I think the development plan will start more towards the southerly portion of the property, where we have the community uses would be designated, and the mixed use in the southerly portion would be the first phases that'll come online to set the tone and the tenor of the overall project, and to show that the project is real on a faster schedule than people might anticipate. I think people want to see something in the ground as soon as possible, and I want to see the tenor of what's going to be there, so that they know that it's real and that it's going to happen, and that it's progressing, and that it might help alleviate some of the fears of the size of this project. So that is the intended goal, is to start on the southerly side and start with that core kind of village, town center buildings and mixed use, to start there, and then work its way up and out. And then depending on where 93 is, that also will help determine how fast things progress. And if what the governor says in 6 years he wants to see I-93 completed to exit 7, well, things will come online a lot faster than they do. And if it doesn't, things will come online a little slower pace. But there is synergy. I know that a number of developers looked at these properties over the years, and I know that there's pent-up demand for this particular type of residential and this particular type of commercial, and the particular mixed use that's out there. People like this type of product, regardless of the economy. So I think we're gonna put our money where our mouth is, and start the project and actually show the synergy of a town center right off the bat. So,
Thank you.
okay.
A couple of process questions, I guess. Master plan comes first, so we'll have an approved master plan before we see any site plans being proposed.
Absolutely.
What is the planning board's authority to approve the project versus going to the town council? Do we have authority, or does the town council have to approve the
PUD
master plan?
The PUD master plan is a function of the planning board. The planning board approves the PUD master plan.
So jurisdiction for the project really rests in our,
Correct.
on this board?
Yes.
And that's by statute also.
Okay, and because I know zoning changes typically have to go to the town council, and obviously this is a zoning change.
Yeah,
for what
only
we're
an
looking at.
adoption of zoning.
It's not necessarily a zoning change, Lynn. The zoning change was the adoption of the PUD ordinance itself. That sets the framework, which now leaves, by statute, the PUD authority with the planning board.
I understand that, I just want to make sure that
Sure.
everybody out in the general public understands that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, at what point in time do we start looking at impact fees and how we assess impact fees? You know,
That'll
John
be-
had mentioned going to the fire department, the police department, to start developing what the requirements are going to be. I know a project this size is going to have significant infrastructure impact.
By statute, we cannot assess impact fees until there's an actual site plan or subdivision plan in front of the board.
So that'll happen down the road once we start seeing site plans being
We can-
submitted to us.
Yeah, we can start anticipating impacts on the broad scale level, but in terms of the actual assessment of the fees, we cannot do that until there's an actual application in front of the board.
What's our plan for involving the town of Derry in these discussions? I look at this project, especially the eastern side of the project, having significant impact on Derry. And I don't know if it meets the criteria for regional impact, you know, based on our discussion
Sure, it
from
does.
last meeting. I don't know if it does or not. I mean,
Oh,
it does to me, but statutorily, I don't know if it
Right.
does.
Statutorily, at this stage of the game with the PUD master plan, it doesn't fall under the regional impact statute. Individual projects likely will, but from my understanding, I know the project applicant and has been working with the town of Derry, and we are certainly inviting the Derry Community Development Department to be involved in this process as well.
Okay, good. I want to make sure that that happens, so. And I guess just the last question, you know, if everything went according to what you see happening, the chain of events, when would you anticipate to break ground? When would you hope to break ground?
I would hope to
on
break
your first
ground
phase.
this spring, but I mean,
This spring.
I want to be realistic. If we're through with the process, we would start immediately after the process is over.
I'm just wondering what your expectations
My
are.
expectations, if we're done with this process, I would start as soon as that process is over, and hopefully that would be this spring.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
George,
Nothing else?
Scott?
The only question I have is, you had talked about deferring like traffic studies and traffic flow. When would that take, when would you start to look at that? I know everything now is just conceptual, so it's,
The first site plan.
In terms of the way the PUD ordinance is written, the requirements for the PUD ordinance are an estimated trip generation by the overall project, how those trips are going to be distributed in the existing roadway network, and then identification of potential areas where intersections may need improvement in its future. As part of any site plan application, it's a requirement for a traffic study for every individual site plan that would come through after that takes place.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just to offer further clarification to Lynn's question, with regards to infrastructure, police, and fire, I and other members of the council have had extensive conversations with the town manager around what our point of view is from the standpoint of what is going to be needed. I know the town manager has shared some of that with the applicant, and that it is first and foremost in our minds. We are not going to wait for site plans or impact fees. We have already proactively been having conversations with what our vision is on what we would need to support this type of a project as it builds out and what would be needed from a life safety standpoint. Sure. We've got to, what I've asked the town manager to do is to encourage the police department and the fire department to actively engage with staff and with the applicant and figure it out and then tell us what the answer is.
Good. I'm just nervous with a project of this scale that, we need to know as much as we can find out as early as possible.
And that is one of the
I'll say it in a
requirements of the
different way.
PUD master plan is that there has to be an impact assessment of public safety needs as well.
Yeah, I think, yes, good. John Michaels, can you add to this also?
Yeah,
You have to come to the microphone.
yeah, just to,
Name and...
yeah, John Michaels. I'm the attorney for the developer. To follow up on Lynn and John's questions, we started engaging with the fire department and the police department last June when we had a pre-charrette, and our intent will be to keep them informed every step along the way. They had people there for the charrette. As we go through this step, we're going to keep them informed, and our idea is to try to keep every one of them involved, but they've already been involved for months.
One of the things I'd like to add to that is that a lot of people still don't realize that we had a pre-charrette to the charrette in which we involved town staff and planners from multiple communities and from regional authorities and all the state agencies, and they all attended and they all gave us input as well. So not only did we have a community charrette, we had a staff charrette, if you might, starting with all divisions of the state government and with your town and other regional planners. So we wanted to cover those bases because we understand the overall impact of something this size in just not only your community, but in southern New Hampshire. So we did do that as well.
And Mr. Chairman, for clarification, the council did not attend that charrette. I don't believe that the planning board or any of the other boards were invited to that pre-charrette.
No, it was strictly staff oriented.
I didn't know about it till after the fact, so, yeah. Jonas, you've been waiting there. I can feel the energy.
I was waiting when you go to the stuff, so let you jump to the board. A couple things. We already had the opportunity to look at these panels a couple days ago, and I would like to stress that a lot of things on this panel, not only for planning board, but also for the residents to realize that the things that are shown are only placeholder. When you will look at, for example, on the sheet showing the transportation improvements, and there may be a couple red stars. It could be, after we go through the workshops, until we'll sit down with the staff, this could be much more. Or I know it's going to be more stars on this plan. The same thing if you go and look at the traffic pattern. To Scott's concern about that, right now this project shows only the impact of the additional traffic from the project itself in the different areas, and there's a number assigned to it. And as you know, this is just a number right now as a placeholder. This number could be much different, could be 3 times, 4 times bigger, and it could be after we will look at this traffic study and what will be the scope of traffic study, we'll look at the redistribution of traffic, not only what the project and at what phase that project cause the redistribution if you have a connecting roads